Here's another track trap I made. This actually, I used to have the trail camera over there when I had that buck walking by, and he's left another track here pretty recently. So that's a way to tell where animals are around without having to use trail cameras. I'm gonna figure out a place to put that rock mineral salt, but this would be like a natural spot. I just put it right here because it's already chewed up just like the instructions ask for. But this is actually already being used by turkeys. This is a turkey dust bowl, so they've been coming in here every day or whatever, and they spread their wings out and they dust themselves off to get all the parasites off them, little bugs and mites. And this is the Jurassic Rock crushed mineral rock year-round mineral supplement, and I just quickly read the direction. So we're gonna give this a go. I've never tried anything like this before, but I figured since I saw it on the Natchez website, I'll give it a go and we'll see what happens. Monitor the activities, and I'll let you guys know if this stuff really does work. Presumably it'll help it soak into the ground. Little hose should work pretty good, right down to the soil. Natchez also has my favorite trail camera, Browning. So check out Natchez. They've got everything. I'm gonna set this up further than I normally would because I don't want any deer that come in here to be disturbed. Sometimes those big bucks get a little bit antsy. You guys know I put all sorts of game cameras out to check the reaction of different animals to the cameras, to the traps. You can see it's on and it's probably filming me right now. So that's set. I'll let you guys know if that crushed mineral rock from Natchez. Check out the website, link will be down in the description. You can buy all kinds of things that you normally would be able to buy from a competitive big box store. It's got hunting, fishing, shooting, and even survival supplies. You buy it all online. And it's a well-run, and it puts customers first. So let's head back and we'll give this some time to work, and hopefully we produce a nice big giant delicious buck from all our hard work. Well, I got another order from Natchez. So as you guys can probably imagine, this video is sponsored by Natchez. Natchez is an online competitor to the big box stores. Check it out. We got some more duck decoys. You can get all the popular brands there. Fishing, hunting, they got survival supplies. They've got just about everything. It was started by a couple of families. I got a whole pile of them. The Battleship Puddle Duck, Browning, trail camera. You guys know these are my favorite. Dark Ops. I got some Rage broadheads, 2-inch cut on contact. These are the weights that go along with the duck decoys. Camo gloves, I use these for turkey hunting. Now there's one thing I've already removed out of the pack, which is gonna be part of the feature for this video. Their ticket is really customer service. So while you're not gonna get that service at the big box retailer, you're gonna get that from Natchez. And they have a ton of really great items. Head to toe, you guys can grab the fishing supplies if that's what you're into right now, or outdoor supplies. So last time I ordered a foam target for hunting deer, accepts arrows. So basically it's a 3D target. And then they've got broadheads. They've got all kinds of different decoys. So Natchez really has everything. You guys use that link down below, and I hope you enjoy this video. Well, since hunting season's a long way off, I thought I would recount an old hunting story. This is way back when, before I even had a YouTube channel. This is a buck I called High Winds High 8 because the winds were gusting over 100 kilometers an hour, which I guess is like over 60 miles per hour. So the trees were swaying and there was a big storm coming in, and we were told like not to go outside. And I just like, whatever. I was with a buddy. I put him in a tree not too far away from where I was. And this guy came in like as soon as I got up the tree. It was really interesting. Like I was dropping my buddy off. I showed him where the tree stand was. I came back and 2 bucks came running down the field, and then they caught my wind and took off. And then by the time I got up in my tree stand, I ran up. I'm like, something's happening. The deer are going crazy. Ran up the tree, and this guy came out. Massive just an absolute massive deer. I actually didn't know how big the deer was. I just looked over and I saw antlers, and he was standing there, 10-yard shot, and I smoked him right in the heart. And he did about, I don't know, maybe 50, 60, 80 yards or something, but he went in a circle in this hardwoods, and then he just piled up. And when it came up on him, I'm like, holy smokes, this guy's absolutely massive. He ended up scoring over 150 inches, and it's only an 8-point. Super symmetrical deer, super, super heavy. And I was hunting this property with like 2 other guys, same exact spot. And I was lucky enough to get a shot at him. I'd been hunting like crazy. I'll put the stats up at the end of this video. This is an old video, by the way. I had it up on my channel, and I can't actually play any of the native audio because I put music over it. You see how big this deer is? This is a giant horse. He was so rutted up too. It was quite the job to drag him out. And this is when I used to hunt. Like, all I did was hunt. I was into survival a little bit and camping and fishing, but I got the bug bad about this age, like in my 20s, and all I did was hunt. So like I was like over 80 hours in the tree stand, putting up tree stands everywhere. I was just getting into hunting, so it was one of those like unsolvable problems. And those challenges, unsolvable problems that you can't solve, they're just not easy to solve. Those are the ones that really drive me. So obviously I got a ton of meat off of this, and at the end I'll see if I could read off real quick, but you know, I put a lot of effort into this. 10 yards, no tracking, heart shot, 22 hunts that season, but that's 88 hours, 9 stands. I saw 31 deer, passed them all up, and that day I was only in the stand maybe 10 minutes. I was still getting my stuff ready. So anyway, that was a pretty cool experience. Best buck to date. So according to the last video, or a couple of videos ago, you guys are probably wondering if these fish are still alive. Honestly, so am I. The water looks like a catfish pond still, and there's actually rainbow trout in there. At least there's supposed to be rainbow trout in there. Throwing the feed in is really the only way we can find out if those trout are still alive. They do like to go down in the bottom where it's nice and cool, and the aerator's not working today. That's by the dugoutdude.ca. He threw that our way. Come on, here fishy, fishy, fishy. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Well, this isn't looking good. Maybe you guys were right. Maybe this is just a pond for catfish. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Wow, they are not awake today. It's not looking good. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Well, I'm looking around the edges, but I don't see any dead fish. Kevin has been noticing that heron make some drive-bys lately. He caught it a few times landing while he was here. We're getting no activity. Last scoop. Come on. Kevin actually tried an experiment with aluminum sulfate. Put it in there, and it seemed like it worked for a couple of days, but because we've just recently made some modifications to the pond, it's silting up a lot more. We are thinking about like lining it with rock. It should be a pretty big project, but maybe it was something that can stop the clay from washing off the edges and getting so muddy. But you can see the fish are alive and healthy, but the water quality could obviously be a lot better. But that's not what we're focused on today. I just wanted to let you guys know that the fish are still alive. We're going to do an experiment now to see if this salt rock mineral lick stuff works. There's a little bit of a beaver dam over here, which we can check as well. See if it's been repaired, and indeed it has. So a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so, I noticed that there was a beaver making quite a bit of damage to the property. It was chewing down some poplar trees, and it was making quite a big dam and backing the water up, obviously flooding a lot of the surrounding area. But it wasn't as disruptive as other beavers have in the past. So this one, it's kind of interesting, is it like made trails up inside the woods here. I don't know if it was finding things to eat. I've noticed that they'll start to eat like cattail roots and stuff like that. So I followed the trail up there to see where it's going, and it just kind of suddenly ends. So that tells me there's a pretty good chance that this is it's just a beaver and not other kind of animal. And so I thought it would be interesting to see what was nearby. I could kind of mess around with the beaver a little bit and get some of the activity of a beaver and how it reacts to a dam break. The water there is not super deep enough to set a trap, and I didn't actually want to catch the beaver just yet. And it's kind of interesting, like all the pathways that they made up into the woods here. And I don't know exactly what they're looking for, but they're definitely looking around for something. So my objective really was to break the set and then get like close up trail camera footage of the beaver working the dam break and how it would repair it in this kind of habitat. So I set up my camera up on a tripod, had a good view there, and I ran it for a couple of days after I broke the dam. You can see the trickling out there. This is kind of a low-lying swamp, so it doesn't have really good flow. And then by the middle of the summer, it actually stops flowing altogether because it's spring-fed, also runoff-fed, and it feeds into a larger river system. So here's me breaking it up close with a good tight view with the trail camera. So really my key was like, I wanted to get that beaver working that set and how it would react to it. So first you might think this is a beaver, but I want to pay attention to the size difference. So this is not a beaver, but it very much looks like a beaver, very beaver-like. But when the beaver comes in the frame, you'll see the difference, and it's pretty startling. So I don't know if you guys could tell what that is. I slow it down here, and the tail is really the dead giveaway for this animal. It's actually a muskrat. So here comes a beaver. Now you can really tell the difference between a beaver and a muskrat. This is actually a pretty big beaver. And I don't know if it's like the angle of the camera or the closeness of the camera, but I would say that's a pretty mature beaver. He comes in right away and he's like, dude, what's going on? Why is the water leaking out? But really what he's also doing, he's taking measurements. He wants to figure out how big this break is, how much material I need to bring in order to fix this thing up. So he starts off with a couple piles of mud that he probably grabbed from the shore, and he stuffs it in there, and he gets it good going, and then he comes back, he gets a little bit more energy. If you notice, the beavers actually move very slowly, and he kind of feels around there. He really is like a snowplow here. Just grabs mud or a bulldozer and just throws it up on top there. And then he comes back for more. And then here's an interesting thing. I don't know why he decided to put a stick there, but I think maybe if like he mixes up sticks and mud, it gets a little bit more solid. And he's got some straw in there, which like kind of like a straw bale house or a cob house or cob construction. So he gets that log in place, and then he piles more mud in. And so I don't understand why he's got so much mud, why he would use that log, but it has something to do with like a beaver's engineering sense for sure. You see, he pauses and he stops and he listens and he thinks, and everything is like kind of deliberate. He's not there to waste energy. These beavers live off of tree bark, and tree bark doesn't really have a lot of energy. I'm guessing because of how slow they move. And here's an interesting little bit of behavior here where he's kind of feeling around, I think in the base, to see he doesn't want to shove it up on the top but then leave a gap. So I think he's trying to feel the bottom here for flow or gaps, and he's really trying to get a nice tight seam here. And then these are obviously different trail cam activities, and the beaver's obviously working over a long period of time. So some of the captures aren't necessarily caught, and because there's a lag also between impressions. So he's got a pretty good pile up there made, and I think he's going to get pretty satisfied with that, and as far as stopping the flow. And then here's some animals. There's a little mouse jumping by, so they benefit from the activity too, and the birds coming in looking for any insects that might appear on the mud. And I don't know if you guys can tell what this is with this kind of weird angle here, but that's actually a raccoon. The tail is always the giveaway for the raccoon as well. So they're using those beaver crossings, the beaver dams, as crossings. And, the raccoons can never quite give up the fact that they want to have a close look and a sniff. There's another mouse. And there's another mouse there. But I was curious that I was getting activations for the camera from frogs. Quite a few frogs. Here's another animal. You guys can tell what that is. That is a long, slender animal. It's a mink. And then some more frogs. They're always curious. And then some more birds. All kinds of activity. And there's a duck. We got the trail camera there. And then we put our rock salt here. Oh, there's deer tracks in here. Dude, there's so many deer tracks in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, too many to count, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. The deer found it already. I can't even freaking believe that. This stuff works, man. There's no reason for that many deer to be in here. I thought it was going to be full with turkey feathers because of the dusting over there, but it's full of deer tracks. Now I'm super curious. Oh, there's the trail camera over here. I'm super curious to see how many deer we got on here. That is super promising. The tree stands right there. Oh man, thank you, Natchez. Let's check this out. I never would have tried this without the sponsorship to Natchez because I always thought this stuff wouldn't work. 28 impressions. First impression is... So no big surprise here. We're going to have, of course, the turkey. And this one actually just flew down out of the trees, so they must have been roosted nearby. So it means that could be good fall hunt for turkey. That's obviously a nice longbeard. And here's a different bird that came up a little bit later. And that looks like maybe a Jake from this year, but he's growing a pretty significant beard as well. So those two guys may be on the menu for me this hunting season. And here's another one. This one's another long beard as well. And then here's a coyote. And I slowed this down because he exits the frames pretty fast. But he's not super interested in that salt lick at all. But it's interesting to see the reactions. And now this is the first time this deer has come to the salt lick, any deer at all. And for some reason, he's curious enough to come right in and have a look around. And he's definitely got his head down in the dirt sniffing. So this is the first reaction. Then we got another deer, another young buck, and camera cut out there, but I think he took a little stab at that. If you keep watching, I'm going to show you a couple of frames later where the two bucks kind of get in on it together, and it's kind of interesting since they're still in velvet. This is late August now, so they're not quite shedding the velvet yet, getting into the rutting mood. So he's in there, head deep in that, and he's definitely licking and sniffing. And I have some close-up frames you might be able to see. He's actually eating something, but of course there's nothing there to eat. It's dissolved salt that's sunk in. So at this point in time, watching this footage the first time, I'm sold on this as a product. I didn't really think it was going to work exactly, but these animals spent a long time at this salt lick, and I'm going to show you quite a bit of footage of how they're using the salt lick and how frequently they're visiting. I don't know if you can tell how many times this camera's activated, but I had maybe 30 or so frames, but they keep coming back, and so they're obviously deficient of something. Watch this. So that's obviously the dominant of the two. These are probably brothers, and the other one comes in and gives him a little smack, and then trips himself up. Here it is again. You stab him in the butt and move him out of the way, and then they get a little bit of head contact, and then one knee butts the other one in the head, and then takes off. So I'm guessing these two are probably brothers. I'm guessing they kind of live nearby because I do have some daytime activity as well with these two bucks, which is coming up here now. You can see that deer definitely sticking his head in there and definitely consuming that salt. And then the benefit of using that trail camera is that I can see how the deer approach here and then how they leave. It seems like they were coming from the left and then leaving also back to the left. So it seems that they were bedded over in that direction. And I know that area pretty well. So here's some daytime activity. And then I'm not going to go through real-time frame here. There's the butting heads again. But I had an awful lot of activity. So this is sped up. I don't know how many minutes it is. It's probably about a half an hour of combined footage. And then you can see that deer coming in, and they're definitely licking and consuming this. So if you guys want to try your own experiment or invest in this product, I would definitely recommend it. At first I thought it was pretty gimmicky. I think, well, deer probably like the salt. They're on the side of the road in the spring consuming the salt, but do they like really need it? And then will it, keep a deer near a stand or attract a deer to my stand? And turns out it would. So it is actually have a value for hunters and for hunting. And I have some tricks up my sleeve as far as scrapes go, but I'll show you guys that later. How many deer we got on here? That is super promising. The tree stands right there. Oh man, thank you, Natchez. I realized how I had the camera aimed. I never actually showed the squirrel stand. So the squirrel stand is right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. Right there, we got the big ladder that goes up. So right there, and the salt lick's right there. And I paced this off. It's only 25 yards, which is perfect for the setup. Ooh-wee. Well, we're gonna get wet, boys. That's the perils being out in the bush.